Hi, everybody. Poop Witch X here, and I am joined today by the absolutely lovely and sensational Carmahdee. Welcome in, Carmahdee. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, though I feel a little sweaty. I was listening to you before getting in here, and I'm like, oh, the energy. And then I saw the radar alert go up, and I saw the mention of the boob sweat and the butt sweat. I'm like, I'm there.
Now you know what I go through. You understand what it feels like on the other side. And I appreciate that so much. Karma, before we get started, what are your pronouns?
My pronouns are she, her.
Thank you. Don't do what I did last time where I said he, him when I'm like, no, wait, sorry. I feel like whenever someone asks me that question, it's just the first thing that pops in my mind is the first thing that falls out of my mouth. I have to become more prepared. I need to come more prepared. It's for whatever I'm thinking at the time at that moment. But okay. I'm thinking so fast. You understand me. You understand me. Okay, so first of all, we were just talking. I know you were here before. We were just talking about acting, and you're an actress. So like, I am so excited to talk to you because I am not in the industry anymore, and I feel like I have lots of feelings about it. How you too? Let's get into it. So okay, so what are you? So are you primarily theater or film and TV?
I'm primarily film and TV, but I would say I'm a comedian first before an actor. But I do TV and film.
You do stand-up, babe?
I do mostly improv and sketch, and I started to do stand-up before the pandemic.
And wait, can we time out? Let me explain to you how badass that is.
Oh.
Any type of comedy, to me, is like, if you can stand up there and do that, I am literally gonna bow down to you. That is amazing. Improv? Are you kidding me? So stressful. Talk about boob sweat. Like, on the spot when you do improv. Are you kidding me? Okay, so you would say primarily your focus is comedy, sketches, improv, stuff like that. So what are things you've done recently? Like, what's your favorite thing you've done? Yeah.
Oh, well, with pandemic happening, it really put a stopper to all those live shows. I really had everybody took a pause for the first couple of months, and little old me just loves her project. So I said, there's this thing called the internet. I think I'm gonna try to do something there.
Try the internet.
So, I started streaming. I was doing other live comedy shows, hopping on different things, doing different D&D sessions and stuff like that. Whatever.
Like maybe with us, you've done a couple with us.
That's right.
It's so much fun. So how long have you been acting?
Acting. Well, I started in 2012 because I was working. I was just working my first job out of college in the tech industry. For a while there, it's weird. I went to school to study how to make video games. I wanted to be a 3D artist, but then life would just hand me an opportunity that put me into slot gaming, and so I developed slot machines, even though I had never gambled before. I think I was
slot gaming. I'm like, did she make slot machines? Like, are you telling me you created slot games? Like slot machines?
Yeah. All the touch screen animations, all the the real ones where it's like this old style cherry.
The levers.
Yes,
my God, stop!
Yeah.
You created like the artwork for it or the concept behind them?
Some artwork. So what I did at that company, I was a technical artist. So kind of in between, a bridge between the artists and the programmers. And what I did at that job specifically was kind of take all the art and break it, kind of give a outline or guide or templates to know how to break it up and break it down so it fit within the hardware and met the software limitations, which were next to none.
Wow. This is like, you know when you've never thought about how much goes into something? I have never, when I see a slot machine, I'm like, oh, that's pretty, that's cool. And then there's all this back end of like you creating these entire games, these masterful games. This is amazing.
It's a whole world, and it was nothing that I thought it was.
It's probably its own. I feel like it's its own category of gaming. Like it's its
definitely.
own. So you got yourself into that. How did you get from wanting to create 3D animations and gaming and slot machines? How did you pivot to acting? How did that get there?
So I guess, I was just doing the 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, check in, check out. And I was like, this is it? This is it? I don't know. Like, I need something more.
This is everything?
And I thought to myself, I'm like, I really want to, like, challenge myself or do something that I was too afraid to do in high school because I was bullied for it or whatever. And I decided that what a fun thing would do that would, give me a challenge was to enter into acting. So I said, okay, let's try it out. So then I started researching all about acting, how to get started, found different I'm based out of Vancouver, so I looked for different programs and courses and coaches and headshots and all that stuff.
Yeah, you have to start from the bottom. You have to figure out everything right. So let's just touch upon that for a second, because I feel like that is something that you and I shared. You didn't grow up in the acting space. There's a lot of, I hate to say it, and I know that you know what I'm talking about, but there's a lot of people who are know people. They know their mother, their father, their uncle. Like they are immersed in it from the get-go. So they already know the deal. Starting from zero is super intimidating. So when you talk about how you got into it, what did you do first? Did you take a class first? Did you decide that you liked the art of acting and then you were like, all right, let's do it? Or did you just dive straight in?
I did a class. Yeah, I did this. I believe it was at the Vancouver Film School. No. I can't even remember. It's been so long. Well, one of the acting schools, and I just did one of their kind of sampler programs. It's like, you can try all this different types of things.
So you get to see what you like, what you don't like.
And then also the business, what you need to prep to find an agent, that sort of thing. So everything you needed to know to get started, essentially.
Right.
Yeah, and so that's what I did. And it was. And then
when you took those classes, what was the thing that resonated with you the most?
Good question. At that time, I was so green. At that time, I was so green that it was still so scary, but I was still doing, because I was just like, I just gotta keep at it.
Right.
I'm gonna keep practicing, and then maybe you'll feel better. But I was starting to go out to auditions and stuff, and the nerves came in.
I know. Oh my God. Oh,
already
it's the worst. It's the worst. Your first year of auditioning.
Yeah, you're where's the washroom? So if you
have to calm yourself down, you need you're like, I need air. No, I completely agree. You're finding when you first start out, you're oh my God, the mapping out everything stage where you're like, okay, I need to get from this place to this place. How many minutes will it be? How long do I have to wait? What do I need to bring? It is so stressful. It's stressful even after you've been doing it a long time, but I do feel like acting, I always said, was like a muscle, and the more you work it out, the stronger, and your endurance gets better and better. But when you stop, my muscles are atrophied. I cannot act. People are like, oh, well, you can still act. No, if you don't do it for as long as I haven't done it, you can't just pick it back up. You have to start again. You have to reshape that muscle. So when you first started acting, did you like theater? Did you have one, a tendency to like one or the other? Or were you like, I'm just going to try anything for the first couple years?
For me? Yeah. My only theater experience was, school. So plays and stuff.
Yeah,
or Christmas choir or, different little productions here and there. But, I think I at the time I was just kind of exploring. I was just discovering, getting a feel for it. And I just noticed the auditioning process, it was just, that's where everything kind of went away. Everything I learned, it didn't matter because I had all these nerves. I'm like, oh, because why I entered it was because, you know, I was an introvert. I hated public speaking. I got stage fright. You know, my body just shook. I can't do anything. I couldn't breathe. There was, well, that will lead me to the thing that led me to do comedy. So, you know, I was just really kind of not having a best go at it. And I was kind of, I managed to get an agent, but the auditioning process was not good. But it wasn't until there's a whole bunch of life stuff that happened. At this time, I was recently in a car accident. I was a passenger. My dad was driving, and we got rear-ended just as we were about to turn on our road to go home. I was just visiting, and I couldn't really do anything. So at that time, my friend at work, she had one.
Were you guys okay?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. So we were okay. We got whiplash.
Oh yeah.
And then we had to do like physical therapy. Yeah, all that stuff.
Oh my.
And still, like, even now, like, if I sleep wrong, oh
no! Wait, so this was this moment where the car accident was like a clicking point for you?
Not even.
Wait.
But that year was
that
like
year.
A big year. A big year of kind of like a lot of life stuff was happening. So then my coworker, she won 6 tickets to a comedy club.
Cool.
For stand-up. So then I was like, oh, that's something I do. I can sit for a little bit. I couldn't sit in one spot for a really long time, so I had to end my D&D campaign that I was doing at the time. So that was the thing. And then, so I was like, okay, I can sit at this show. So I'm sitting there. At the Comedy Mix in Vancouver. It no longer exists because, you know, as many businesses sadly shut down. But the headliner that night was a comedian named Phil Hanley, and he's known for his crowd work. So he's kind of doing his thing, talking whatever, blah, 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 blah. Let me go back earlier in the night when he was mentioning the story where he was doing a show, and then after the show, a woman was kind of like going up to him and just like being like really like amorous towards him, and he was just kind of like, I'm married, just to kind of like kind of
me, back off,
back off kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to me, way later, where he's doing his crowd work, blah 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 blah. He asked the question, did anyone here go to the Art Institute? I'm sitting in the back in the dark, but somehow, for whatever reason, I go, woo! No! This is where it all goes downhill. So
were you the only person who went like, woo?
Yeah, bad. So then he goes and then he tries to talk to me. He's trying to interview me, but I couldn't even project my voice to talk to him because I was so nervous. And it kept going on for so long. It was kind of like the nightmare that you hope that doesn't happen at a stand-up show.
Yes.
So I was God. This sucks because he can't hear me. I'm trying so hard. Everything's going wrong. And then it got to a point of frustration for him where he was like, you know, if based on how this is going, I would tell you I was married too. I was like, oh no. And I was like, I felt so bad and shitty. And I hated the rest of the night. I was just like, I want to get out of here, please.
Oh my God.
And it hit me so hard. And like, for days I was like,
you were thinking about it, right?
Yeah,
you were like reliving it. Yeah.
Like, why does this affect me so hard? Because it was just like the thing that you didn't want to happen happened. And then I kept thinking, I'm like, oh, this sucks. Like, how am I ever even going to even try acting if I can't even like talk to a human being in public? So then I was on Twitter and I saw there was like, a tweet from one of the improv companies in town, and they mentioned they had an intro to improv, and I was like, I did intro to improv at the sampler course at the other acting school, and they're like, hey, if you sign up, you get early bird. And then I took my first improv class, and I was bitten by the bug.
Oh my.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I feel like I commend you. I really, for so many reasons, but like, I never really ever shed my nerves completely. I really never did. I was always, even 4 years in, I was always nervous. Like I couldn't ever shake it. But I don't have a problem public speaking or anything. So it wasn't like I couldn't. But when I did improv, it is its own animal. It is a beast. You have to think on your feet. You have to be comfortable with failure. You have to you have to learn how to laugh at yourself when you do flub and when it doesn't flow, and like you have to be able to shake those off quickly. So I commend you. That is coming from the girl who was scared in the back of the comedy house and coming to now where I feel like you are so extroverted. You exude confidence, and I commend you so much. I really, absolutely. Like I had no idea that you came from roots that I would have thought you were.
Oh yeah, I was a quiet kid. Yeah, but it was so bad. It wasn't that I was like, I didn't have anything to say. I just didn't feel comfortable to say it, type of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what about improv made you learn to feel comfortable with what you wanted, how to project yourself?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, improv really helped me find my voice. And, yeah, like you were saying, there's a lot of base principles about improv that do kind of help and teach some things that were so programmed into you from an early age. Like, you know, being okay with failing. Failing is okay. Before it was such a big deal. Oh, no, I failed the test. So it's like, now it's just like, just fail. Like, fail gloriously. Fail hard. And, you know, lean in and make it a thing. And, you know, there's lots you can do with, you know, flubbing on stage. Maybe you meant to say, you know, potato, but then you said potato and then whatever.
You can run with it. They teach you how to run with it.
You're just a weird person that just says everything a little bit different.
Right. and I think that is like, it's amazing that your journey took you to the polar opposite of where you started. Because it really did. If you think about it, being somebody who's scared of public speaking, who is having trouble projecting their voice, to doing comedy, that is you can't. I mean, to me, there's always, and I wonder if you agree with me, there's theater, there's TV and movies, and then there's comedy. It's its own corner of talent.
Yeah. And it's so sad because I will mention this. This remind me that a lot of grants out there don't support comedy as its own art. They exclude it.
Right. And you know what? I it's not fair because I actually think it takes a certain kind of person and resilience to be able to do comedy. Theater, so you didn't really like theater either, which I find kind of interesting that neither one of us were like into theater that much. Yeah. And why didn't you like theater? I'm just curious if it's like the same reason why I didn't really like it.
I can appreciate theater.
That's what I say every time. When people ask me why do you like theater, I say I appreciate theater. Okay, keep going. I'm just curious what the rest.
I think the thing is where I really gravitate towards comedy. There's a lot of your creation in that, especially with like improv, or like you're when you're doing a sketch, you're writing your ideas, you're coming up with the whole premise and all of that, and stand up too.
So it's your own originality that draws you to the, okay. So I always felt like I didn't like theater because I always, to me, it's its own beast. And I never liked the aspect of you get it once and you're done. You don't get to do it again. You don't get to change how you feel in that moment. I loved when I would do acting and I could get feedback from the director and I could change it, tweak it. I could be bigger, smaller. I can be angrier. And I liked being able to play in that way. But theater, it's like you get one chance and you are done.
You get one chance, or you have to do the same show for weeks on and over and over and over.
Can you imagine, the burnout for Broadway actors is, I mean, Broadway's obviously the peak of theater, but like even just normal off Broadway, anything like the level of intensity you have to hold every night because you can't have a bad night because that audience isn't going to know that something, they're going to see you one time and they don't get to rewind and replay it. You got to give it every time. And so I appreciate theater But
Yeah, we both appreciate theater.
we appreciate you, babe, but like you can keep it. I love watching theater. I think they're amazing. I'm like, oh my god. But I honestly, do you know the Laugh Factory in the
I'm familiar.
Okay, so I love watching the Laugh Factory and clips from the Laugh Factory, and I feel like I love the versatility of comedians and how they each have their own vibe. Do you feel like you'll ever want to get into like a stand-up or like those Netflix special kind of thing, or where do you see your comedy going?
Oh, I'm not sure yet. Like, I really enjoyed the stand-up that I did. It was more autobiographical. Wow, that came out of my mouth all weird. I kind of just like myself on stage, and I don't know if that would translate to such large audiences because I'm still working on my routine. I'm still green in that respect. Like doing it is fine. It's just I have to gather the body of work. I see I know so many comics, they're out there, and I've seen them work their set and just really drill it down and add all this flavor. Take some stuff out and just make it like album ready.
Yeah. And I think that that's something that you have to practice too, right? Like you have to be able to practice in smaller, like how do you start? You have to start in smaller spaces, right? And like, but aren't those almost worse because they're so intimate? Like you're literally like,
let me tell you.
Tell me. I want to know. I will never do comedy. I might be very extroverted, but like, fuck that. Like, I would never do it.
No,
like, absolutely not. No, I don't think I would ever do it. Like, unless it's like a group of my friends. But no, I don't think I would ever see myself doing that. But like, fun. So how do you start? Like, how do you start?
There's so many different. The thing is like with it, you can take it any which way that. Let me start over again because I just started making mouth sounds and words didn't come out.
I understood every mouth sound you just made. I understood it completely. We speak the same mouth language.
I'm like, they're turning on the engine right now.
We'll just talk like this, like ooh, ooh, and then you'll be like ooh, and then I'll be like ooh. No, I
where was I? Oh, yeah. So to start,
how do you start?
There's so many different ways that you can start. It's different for everybody. You can go the open mic route. Wow. Okay. Ooh. Watch out. For me, luckily for me, I had done like 7-8 years of improv and sketch. I was, really like, I crossed over into the stand-up world. Sometimes they have stand-up and improvisers like work together and a lot of that, and sketch and stand-up and all of it. So I kind of worked my way up through improv. So I did a lot of, first you do, your course. Why did I say course? Courses sounds too like academia. When you do your workshops or whatever, and you get to a place where maybe you're doing like kind of a conservatory, your team put together by whatever school you're going to, and then you do shows with that team regularly, like bi-weekly or once a month. You work towards the goal of doing one show, and you keep doing those. Then you kind of do so many of those, and eventually you kind of get on your feet, and maybe you'll guest on some other shows in town, and then it's a lot of hustle.
It's a lot of hustle.
And then you move up, and then you kind of like, maybe you get to a place where you start putting on shows, producing shows, and then it kind of goes up and
keeps
up,
going.
Up,
it keeps ratcheting up. So talking about the hustle, because like, let's be serious. That is to me, in my opinion, the worst aspect of the art. Like,
absolutely.
it's just, I don't think people, because streaming, and you're also a streamer as well. Streaming is a hustle. You have to hustle, but it's just not the same. And I feel like people who have never acted, and I'm not talking about for a year, I'm talking about for years, right? If you've never been immersed in the field in a major city or in some major capacity, you have to appreciate how hard it is to do it. It's just hard. It's so on so many levels hard. Like every level. What do you feel like for you? How do you feel like the hustle is for you? Like how you've been in it for 10 years. So like, how do you feel, how do you deal with it?
Okay, so that's a very good question. The hustle, you're kind of it takes a lot out of you, and I did it for a long time. I was just kind of like, I do my work, and then I'd run over to a rehearsal, and then I'd run over to do a show, and then I'd go all the way home, and then I maybe eat a little,
Right.
and stay up or whatever, and then go to bed.
Right.
You're like getting no sleep. You're like
You're always
running
moving.
thing. You're running thing, yeah. And you're always moving. And the hustle's really hard. You have to make a lot of sacrifices to kind of if you're taking it seriously. So it's saying yes to a lot of stuff, but saying no to a lot of things. But with the pandemic, that's really
I can't even imagine how hard it is now. I mean, I can't even imagine how hard it is now.
Yeah, it kind of for everybody that I know in the comedy community in Vancouver, it gave us a really good pause. For me, it gave me a pause, and then I started doing the hustle online.
Right. You pivoted your hustle. You changed.
But then I recognized life kind of came at me again, and then I realized, you know what? This is a sign.
Yeah.
I need to, I need to slow down. I've done all this work. I planted all my seeds. I can kind of settle down now.
Right. Right.
I can put my energy and my time into places that have been neglected. And one of the most neglected things was myself.
Yeah.
I put myself last, and my body was telling me, my brain was telling me, I felt it. Like I was run ragged.
Down.
I was busy pre-pandemic, and then the pendulum swung all the way in the other
direction. Right. And that also causes like an emotional, and I hate to use the word because I know you suffered, but it does cause like an emotional whiplash. I mean, you go from one to drastic to another, and you're all of a sudden, all the momentum you had like collides with yourself. You know what I mean? Like you finally stop, and then you're like, whoa, I haven't rested. And it's not, when I say resting, I feel like when you are in the acting of any variety industry, it's not like a rest, like you need to lay down. It's like mentally resting, emotionally resting, like processing. The hardest thing for me was that I would get 5 auditions that day. 3 would be self-tape, 2 would be in person. I would have to go all the way into
good agent.
I had a couple. I'll send you their names. I had a couple. I had a manager and an agent at one point, and I felt like I was and I was always. I also did you do backstage stuff too? Do you ever look at that stuff anymore?
No, I haven't. I hadn't done the background stuff.
Yeah, there's backstage in New York, when I was first trying to build my resume, they have a lot of non-union projects for like films and stuff. So when I was building my resume, that was when I was in the first year. And then I was like, all right. But the thing is that I feel like when you are doing things and like you're swinging from one emotion to the next emotion, and you have to pivot like on a dime. One of my biggest things that I struggled with is I would come in super prepared. Obviously my lines memorized. I'd be, and they'd be like, "Oh, we really like you. Read this character too." And I'd be like, I was so like, for me, I always really struggled to shift, to the next character. So they would give me like 5 minutes to read the lines. Was that something that you saw too? Like the shifting from one emotion to the next on like a drop was always really hard for me.
I didn't really get those cool auditions, and I still don't. I tend to go for. I was listening to you before we started, but I heard that you were getting all like, all the like
the darkest,
worst, dark stuff. For me, I got like student. I don't know, student. Okay. I don't know, student. just kind of a plate. One of those, You don't even get a name. You're
Yeah,
just a
no,
thing.
I would get auditions, and they were always, and I think that was probably because my headshots were so like gritty. I think that sort of like my manager at the time wanted me to go for like the darker roles, which I really liked. Like I really enjoyed. My dream was me and my husband, well at the time we were just, I don't even know, fiancés, or I don't know. We were gonna move to Atlanta because one of my managers had a connection with what the hell? I haven't thought about this name in so long. Oh my God, what is the name of this managed company? I haven't thought this name in 4 years. What is the name? There's a talent manager in Atlanta, based in Atlanta, that books for Walking Dead all the time. The free people, talk people, the people show, the people's, something. Oh my God, this is gonna drive me crazy. Karma. I don't know. The people. Oh my God, it doesn't matter. Anyways, so we were about to move to Atlanta, which Lord have mercy, thank God we didn't. But like I kept getting roles that were super dark and it took a huge toll on me. It really did. I'm a really happy person. I'm a really bubbly person. So I'd have to walk in like myself and then switch on a dime to like somebody who literally is being held captive in a basement.
Oh wow.
And like running for her life, and I'm like, great.
Oh no.
So that's what
figuring out the blocking on that one.
let me tell you something. I will never, you can ask my husband, the amount of time I used to film. I did this in an apartment, and we had one big bedroom, and we used to film all of my self-tapes in my bathroom, and we'd have to cover the toilet with a sheet.
So
it was the only room that had a door from my apartment. It was the only room that had a door. It was the only room the dogs couldn't get into. It was the only one that could control the acoustics. But you could see that it was clearly a bathroom. It was the hours that go in. Do you do self-tapes now more because of the pandemic?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it all switched to self-tapes. There was only one or two times where I had to go in. One was a callback, and then the other time, I don't even know why we went in person. The director was calling over Zoom. I'm like, why are we doing this? Why? I much prefer the auditions. I will have to say, the auditions did get better. It wasn't just boring student because I switched agents because I did take a long break. So I started the acting in 2012, and I took a break just to focus on comedy for 7-8 years, and then I was like, hey, I should start acting again. I think I'm ready.
Yeah. And maybe taking that break helped you realize, like, okay, I'm going to try doing acting in film, TV, and I need a new agent, because your agent makes a huge difference. And I think, having the combination of my agent who was like, gritty stuff, my manager who was like, yeah, gritty stuff. I mean, the first ever audition they put me on, which was like horrible. It was like it was not the best. They wanted me to be, it was like a dystopian thing, which I love. I love dystopian stuff.
Yeah,
and like, that's fun, apocalyptic stuff. But like, I shouldn't even talk about it. It was so bad. It was
no.
And I was like, I don't know. It was very, let's just put it this way. It was very like sexual explicitness. And I was like, I don't want to do this. They were like, they're not going to make you do anything. Just go and then we can negotiate. I was like, but.
Plus.
I was like, what?
Can we take it down to an NC-17, everyone?
Thank you. I was like, no. So yeah, it was just, there's a lot of things that, happen. And I feel like you've been in the industry for so long. I feel like you have a good sense of where you stand and what you want, which is so important.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So how has streaming been for you since you've, the pandemic, which was supposed to be for like a month, 2 years later. Cue SpongeBob's voiceover. 2 years later. How has it been for you?
Well, yeah, I started streaming during like whenever that whole boom of streamers kind of started. A little bit after that, like last year in end of August, early September, something like that.
Right.
And then I started, and it was, I love streaming. It's so much fun. And, it was going back to my roots of video games and all of that.
Yeah.
I really loved looking at video games, using that lens, kind of looking at it like, oh, yeah, look at this texture over here.
Yeah, because you have a degree in that. That's what you studied.
But you can see that anyway. No, like that's just a bad example. But I love streaming, but I had to take a break from it. Like I was saying, I kind of just hit a point of my life where I realized, I need to really take care of myself.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like wake up call. Hello.
Yeah.
We got to do something. And I said to myself, imagine if I treated myself like one of my projects. So I was like, let's try this. Let's really try this, because I felt like, I've throughout my years have grown and learned to kind of figure out different things about like how to manage my mental health and all of that. But I was at a point where I was like, it's not enough. What I'm doing is not enough. I was doing traditional talk therapy. I talked to my doctor about meds. I was trying to balance my life out, but something wasn't really clicking. And inside was just like, all the things that kind of haunt you.
Yes.
And then
that
you kind
voice,
of go into, kind of, like, what?
You sounded like me. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. Yes.
You shrink and you kind of get all doom and gloom, and you spiral, and you go like, what is the point of all of this?
Those intrusive but also existential thoughts, where am I going? Where are we? What's happening? What is I completely understand. So when you hit that wall, what have you been doing now that's been benefiting you?
So what really so the thing that this is kind of a big story. Well, the thing that really helped me was realizing the healing that I needed to do was not only going to be healed through talk therapy. I had to look at other things. I didn't know what. I had to look. So I started looking.
Right. Yeah.
And I discovered that there's a thing called trauma therapy.
Yeah.
And learning that, trauma is very much in the body and how that all works and the science behind it.
Yes.
And, all the physiological, effects in your body and all the signals. And wow, it was like, boo. I'm like, I wish I knew about this before, but I'm so glad that I found this now, because as soon as I started, learning about all of that and combining it with the talk therapy, I even started, I somehow found my way through actually Twitch. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. K through A Healthy Gamer.
Yeah.
So I found through his Discord, they actually do almost daily meditation. So I started trying to doing that, and like that is a whole other topic that I'll get into more later. And then through that, I discovered, there's an all-women's space Discord. So I entered that. And then through that, they're like, hey, we have a couple spots available in our, our peer group. Sign up if you want to. It was extremely awesome. I think for 12 sessions for 100 something odd USD, 12 sessions, peer group therapy.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect going into it. I was nervous. And I thought, well, is this going to be very much different than, traditional one-on-one therapy? Or like, do I need it on top of like trauma therapy? No. Because the peer group, you get so much from a room of people who have all these varying experiences that can drop in all this wisdom and are just there to support, listen, and just be,
Yes.
Yeah. And the whole point is that you're not there to be friends. You're going to help each other, point out different things, help people figure out what they're feeling And yeah, it's
So is the peer group run by a therapist, or is it just you guys? Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
there's an
okay.
No, I just wanted to make sure. I mean, there's
Yeah.
definitely group therapy
yeah.
where like it can't be. It's not maybe like with a therapist, but you can
yeah.
sit and But that sounds like you were with somebody who was guiding you. It sounded like it was guided.
Yeah. So for the sort of like she is there, and she kind of for the first day like kind of talked about introductions of what it was about, but everybody else got to speak a lot about what it was about. And I only done like a few sessions, but it's mostly everybody else talking and just her being there. And she only really like has to pop up for, oh, this is the homework for this week.
Oh, okay. So you guys get homework, which is great. So you have things to work on privately and at home, which is amazing. That sounds amazing.
I really loved our first assignment, and it was basically she asked us to write kind of like a one-pager at most about like some of the themes we talked about, and I talked about kind of like this self-love journey that I'm on.
No, you're on a journey. You're on a self-love journey of reconnecting with yourself and what you need. And it seems like this is the first time maybe in 10 years you're actually acknowledging your own needs, like what you need for you on a day-to-day life, what you want for your career, like what you are doing and who you are. I feel like that's exactly what you're doing. And it's amazing, and it's super commendable that you took this time to take your mental health into your own hands, which is so important. Like that's really, really important. I think it's very inspirational that like you figured all this out in the most unique way. You went from here to here, and then look at how you've come to this place, and it was from so many different happenstances. So you should be insanely proud of yourself, and I'm proud of you. And I think that that's that's what I mean when I say Twitch is it's what you want it to be, because you found this place through this Discord from a Twitch streamer who's a therapist, and like it's amazing from here to here to here. And then you found that because you became a Twitch streamer because of a pandemic, because you were doing comedy, but then you were doing acting, and then you were in gaming, and then you were making slot machines. Like look, the point is, it's like, a lot of people, because we talk about mental health in here very often, and the thing is like so many people think that it's supposed to be just a linear A plus B equals C, and that's just not how it is. It's like A minus B plus 12, maybe a 9 plus B, C, D, L. Like it's anywhere, and however you get there. Yeah, no, it's something that is, you're actively working on, which is amazing. I love that you're doing peer stuff too, because I think that like working with a group of people who are non-judgmental and just there to be soundboards and a comfort, it's amazing. It's really fantastic. So for you, you've taken a break. Are you getting back into the acting? Are you where are you right now?
Going. So the acting was still happening. I was still doing a lot of auditions and stuff. I've been able to film a few things over the course of 2 years. I did this kind of weird show. It's called The Slowest Show. It's basically kind of like a long screensaver for your TV type of thing, and it was developed by a production company here in Vancouver called Kelly and Kelly, and they cast me in 2 of them. In one of them, we were filming at a cool skate park in Burnaby, and they had me play the role of Condiment Woman. And my whole job in that whole long scene was that I would keep going back to the hot dog stand to put on more condiments on my hot dog. And then, so that was a really fun one. And that was the first time that I saw like a bunch of people, because I had been isolating for so long. So that was amazing. Yeah. And then the second time that they brought me out, we were at Commodore Lanes off of Granville, and this really cool bowling alley that's underground. That's like old school 5-pin, or maybe it's, I don't know, but it's the tinier balls. And they had me play a pickpocketer there, and that was a really fun gig because there was a whole bunch of scene work going on. There were like nuns bowling. They had a whole bunch of like cute retro teens playing a whole bunch of stuff. But the person I talked to most was a security guard who would catch me in the act of taking all these wallets and purses and things, and then he made me apologize and return them all back to everybody in the scene. And then go over and we get beers and then we like cheers in the background kind of thing. And he
that's
was the
fun.
most adorable, like 70-year-old Asian man that was just like, yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm retired and now I work and he's a working actor. And I'm like, you're awesome. Like,
You're amazing.
That's what I want. That's what I want.
You know what's funny is that I feel like, you know, when you're sort of in the middle of like ages, it's almost harder. Like when you're really young, I feel like it's easier. And when you get older, somehow I feel like it's sort of easier. It's when you're in the middle, it's harder to place. Cause like when I was acting and I was obviously much younger than I am now when I started. But, you know, my agent and my manager was like, we're going to cast you from like 17, which was like pushing it for like 17, but without makeup. I mean, I do look like a baby. Like I do. So from like 17 to, they were saying like at the time, like 27, 28, you know, and that was sort of my age range. And then it was so funny because like all of my auditions, I felt like, I was like, I wish I was just either older or actually younger because I feel like I don't fit into any of these molds, you know, like I wasn't a mother. So I was like, when they try to,
same.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not a mother. So like, I always felt like weird when they were like, you need to play a mom with 2 kids. I'm like, what? And then they put me in high school and I'm like, Jesus, I am old.
That's what I had my bad agent. She had put me up for like, oh yeah, a mom in a minivan commercial. I'm like,
no. Yeah.
I look like the kid.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I completely agree.
This like sexy Asian girl that needs to be rescued by this guy. I go into the audition room like, I don't know why I'm here, everybody.
They might have loved that though. You know, sometimes when you come in and you do something totally different, they love it, and sometimes they're like,
True.
Get out, what the honestly, you know, I had gotten, you want to hear, okay, please don't laugh because don't laugh, okay? I'm going to tell you something that my manager put me up for. My first manager, she was not very good, but I had blonde hair at the time, okay? Just bear with me here. I was also smaller and in better shape because I was like 22, but like, or 23, I don't know. She put me up, and I am not kidding, for a stand-in role for Scarlett Johansson.
Whoa!
Like,
what movie was that?
It was so, you know what? That's a great question. It was not Black Widow or anything like that. It was when she had blonde hair. I was 2022. So cool. She put me in and I actually
she was doing more artsy stuff.
She was doing more artsy stuff at the time, and they took pictures. And this is one of the things they measured my boobies.
Oh yeah, I heard that part.
Yeah, they were like, that was one of the times that I had to tell them what bra size I was, which was just great. And I actually got called back, and then it was between me and 3 other girls, but I'm actually taller than she is. I'm 5'5". I'm basically 5'5", and she's 5'.
Wait, how tall is she?
I want you to guess, because you're gonna be floored when I tell you.
Is she 5 even?
Like, no, she's a little taller than that. She's 5'2", almost 5'3".
Oh, okay.
So they were like, you're too tall. I was like, I have never been called too tall in my life. And that would have been actually great money, and it would have been for like at least 2 months. But but yeah, there were some things that like, you know, you sort of get this weird brain when you're in the industry of like, who am I? Where do I fit? Like you said, you have managed an agent, they put you up for a commercial as like a mom, and then you go do a stand-in for Scarlett Johansson. Like what? Like what? And then you just keep, and for me, I think it took a toll on me to constantly be pivoting, and I don't know if it's just because I feel like my teachers never really taught me how to snap in and out quickly. One of my teachers was like, I want you to envision each role as a bird, and then you release the bird. I am not kidding. I went to her for like, and I was like, I can't envision this grief as a bird, woman. Like, it is hurting me. Like, I just had to pretend.
Because not for me.
It's not for me, because the thing is like, when I wasn't married at the time, but I was, I just gotta read. When I had a role where I had to envision being widowed, and I had to envision like the love of my life. Exactly. You know what I mean? And then you go back and they wanted, of course, and I love, you probably know too, they give you like the most painful scene possible. Like there's no lubrication. They're like, we want you to be grieving at the gravesite.
Rivers out of the eyes now.
Yes. Now, there's actually a picture if you go way down on my Instagram of just, I forgot to put on waterproof mascara, and there's just black streams of tears.
That's amazing.
Radiating from my face. But yeah, I mean, I think that like, for you, what do you feel like is your most loved part of acting and that, and then what is like something that you wish you could change about the industry?
Whoa. My most loved part of acting. Well, you know, I'm like, I would say, you know, because I'm just getting back into it, maybe like a year before the pandemic. I mostly go out for commercials, and I love that because a lot of the time I get to improvise. I have been, you know, kind of having fun with my auditions too when I feel like there's, you know, liberty to kind of play around, and I love dressing up and getting into the part and kind of working out, you know, the material, understanding the work, analyzing the script, you know.
Right, you got to analyze script. How do you, okay, another question, and I'm sure you get asked this a lot, is how do you memorize your lines? But I also want to know what your least favorite part of the industry is, by the way.
Should I answer this? Should I answer this? Okay, well, I'm laughing because this is a secret. Well, not a secret. Well, not a secret. Well, this is just a weird thing that I do, and it's probably doesn't make any. No, I don't know if I should say it.
Tell me. I want to know because that's something that people ask me all the time. Like, how do you memorize lines? Well, I want to know how you do it.
Well, I think a lot of doing the sketch shows that I did with my comedy partner, Raquel, we do have a comedy duo called Carmela, and we put on a lot of shows through that. And through that, we were doing monthly shows. So then it'd be like, when we were done one, we had to start the other one. We had to start writing. We had to start figuring out costumes, props, you know, so much. So we were just juggling, like casting, like rehearsals, and then doing like sales and beer and drinks and
the back end stuff,
back end stuff, and just focusing on memorizing all those sketches.
I can't even,
over and over
month
and over.
To month
Doing that was just a really good practice for me to memorize lines. I also have a natural affinity to it because as a youngster,
youngster, you did not just youngster yourself.
Well,
back in my day, back in old Yeller, when I was a Gee Willikers, Bobby Ray. I mean, youngster. Okay, let's go.
Twinkle in my,
you're freaking youngster. Come on, like 1 year ago, youngster, get out of here. Okay, what were you saying?
But in grade 3, I developed this skill of memorizing the spelling test right before the test. So I would just look at all the words and just look at them. So I kind of have a visual memory. If I'm able to look at the words on a script, then I can memorize it. And so now when I do it, so this is my secret part.
What I need to
know. I'm from Vancouver.
I heard the accent.
And here I get, or BC rather, weeds, big thing. So I do this funny thing where I like to relax. I smoke some pot. I memorize my lines, and then I just do it by the end because I've been.
What she's saying is she smokes pot to memorize her lines.
Yeah, it sounds weird. I know.
It does because people always say that pot makes you forget everything.
Yeah. But let me tell you. Okay, so what I do is exercise the muscle to override the slump of falling into like not memorizing. It makes me memorize it better because I'm working harder, and then I kind of like go, okay, I'm ready, and then I can just do it.
You know what's funny? You are legitimately the first person I've ever heard who said that they smoke weed to memorize things. Like, you are the first
I don't know, you got me.
Person I've ever heard. I don't think anyone else might. That is a very unique thing. Kudos, Carmahdee. Kudos. Because honestly, that was not my way. I would have been like, lines? I have lines to do today? like, what? Oh my God, that's so funny. But I do understand the relaxation aspect of it. Relaxing enough so that you can, because if you're trying to rush, like there's nothing worse when you're trying to rush to memorize it and you're in like a frenzy.
Yeah,
you're never gonna lock anything in. That frenzy brain is bad.
Yeah.
I get that aspect of it. Okay, so going back to the original question, so what is your favorite part is the creative, I can't speak.
Yeah, like the creative aspect of it, you know, creating the character, getting into it, and like really seeing, like, understanding what's going on, and seeing the emotions and all that.
Emotions, right. So what would be your least favorite part of acting or the industry? Like, what would be sort of something that you don't love?
Oh, I'll tell you. Okay, I'll tell you, all right. I'll tell you, all right.
Oh, I want to hear it, baby.
I don't like, okay, when I am put into on audition simply because I am Asian.
Yeah.
Because depending on what the job is, it's kind of more good or more bad than good. Because it's like, a stereotype, or it's just like, okay, yeah, I'm Asian, but I'm also Carla. You know?
Right. And you want to be, I feel like that's really important, is that you want to be chosen because of your talent and because you're exceptionally good at your craft, and not to fill a slot of some, requirement.
Yeah, because like I've been tokenized before in the past. It ain't fun.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, like collect them all. Gotta catch them all Pokemon.
Right.
Like, so that's the downside of the industry. Right. It's like, well-meaning, but then sometimes it's just like, ooh, there's
a lot. Yeah. But I even just feel like, even extrapolating from that point, I feel like the industry needs to stop doing that too far either direction. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're I hate when they tokenize people, they use people for a specific subset, and they have no personality other than that one thing. Like, like I don't know, are you by the way, sorry to bring this up, but are you watching the new Sex and the City, by the way?
I haven't, because I don't have HBO Max. Is that what
it's on HBO Max? Because they're doing this thing, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but they're doing this thing on it where there's like a character, and she has like no other personality other than what they, listen, there's only been like 4 episodes. So like I'm giving it time. I heard it wasn't very good. Yeah, it's been a mess, but like they have to stop. I feel like they're constantly using people, exactly how you just said, for that one specific attribute, whether it's their ethnicity or their sexuality. Like, they're just ringing that bell too many times, and it just sort of starts to feel like you're invalidating your purpose. I get it. You want to be inclusive, which is so important. But you're also not giving them a character. You're giving them a shtick. And I feel like you completely hit the nail on the head. Like, you are a person first, and you should be chosen because of your art and your craft, and not to fill a slot or a vibe, which is so important. And I agree with you. And I think the industry is working on it, because they used to
definitely. They're working on it.
They're working on it.
Before it'd be like, you're not,
they're
not
definitely
seeing
trying.
you. Yeah, but they're trying. Yeah,
they're trying. And I also think that, like,
it's growing pains.
It's growing pains, and I feel like everybody wants everything to change overnight, which is also unrealistic. Yeah. But I do feel like a lot of people have woken up to how many levels of like rankness there is in the acting industry. Just like so many levels of like gross trash garbage. So, like, what
do you mean?
Directors taking advantage.
And hierarchy.
Yes, the hierarchy, sexism, racism, bigotry, things that have just been perpetuated since the dawn of, it's humanity, but like from, but like since the first ever silent film. And then now I do think that people are not adhering and tolerating these things anymore, which is super, super important. But like I think that you hit the nail on the head. They're working on it, but
Yeah.
growing pains,
Absolutely.
which is so important. And I just want to say, because I cannot believe, oh my God, this was the fastest hour of my life. But I just want to say, it's been an hour. I'm not even kidding. I cannot even. It's been the fast. You and I need
just got started.
How dare you live in Canada where I can't get to, okay?
Well,
I
I'll
want
go
to
there.
get together. Yeah, you can come here. I can't get there. Like, they're like, absolutely no Americans.
If I go there, then I'm stuck there?
I think so, yes.
Oh, okay. I'm okay with that.
You don't want to be stuck in America, babe. I want to be stuck in Canada. But no, seriously, you are amazing. I love your story. I love how far you've come. I know that, like, I know me saying I'm proud of you doesn't really probably matter, but like, I am so proud of you. I really am. You're learning what you need. You're on a self-care journey. You're your best advocate. You're doing things. And I appreciate that you also said that it wasn't a straight path. It was lots of different directions to find something that works for you, which is amazing. And I love talking to people who, I'm not in the industry anymore, so I commend you for still being in it and, you know, going through all of the growing pains and hustling, because it really is. I mean, streaming is a hustle in its own right, but it's like you're carving your own corner, right?
Absolutely.
Whereas I feel like acting is somebody else's corner and you're trying to get into it. Like you're trying to carve into someone else's. And I think that's its own thing. So I really commend you.
Yeah,
You're
I think
amazing.
for me, like, and thank you so much, Haley.
No,
like,
I adore
you're
you.
amazing.
So
I
sweet.
adore
No,
you.
stop it.
And
This is
also,
not
I
about
should say, I'm very proud of you and everything that you've accomplished. And seeing your whole journey. It's been amazing. And
Make her stop.
No. Oh, are we gonna make Haley cry, everybody? Let's do it. I swear, every time I tune in,
Stop. I'm crying. Every time you come in, I'm crying. No, it's not about me right now. We are talking about you and your amazingness. You're amazing.
Well, thank you.
No, I appreciate you so much.
I'm grateful.
First of all, you have to do two things for me. You have to come on another podcast with me where we talk again, because I love it. And you have to come play Dungeons and Dragons with us again, please.
Okay, hell yes.
Okay. I love you so much,
I love you so
Carmahdee.
much.
You can check out Carmahdee, twitch.tv/Carmahdee spelled like this right here. I adore you. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're very busy and I appreciate you so much. And I'm so grateful for you taking the time and sharing. We could have honestly talked for 2 hours, 3, 5, 12 hours.
Yeah, really.
Like,
we could have gone on and on and on.
We could have gone on and on, but you are
so
amazing
much.
and I appreciate you so much. And you are truly so special. And I'm so excited that we got to know your story a little bit, because it's amazing, and you've come so far, and you're killing it, and you're doing it, and you're doing it, babe. You're doing it.
Look out, 2022. Here I come. No, really.
Yes,
I mean, I'm coming for you, whether you like it or not. Ooh, sweaty armpits and boob sweat and all.
Boob, butt sweat. We're coming for you.
Yeah.
This was the perfect podcast. This is the last podcast of 2021.
No way.
It is. It's the last one, babe. You are my last one of 2021, and that's the perfect way to start 2022. We're coming for you, baby. Thank you so much, everybody listening. I am Poop with Jex. This is Carmahdee, and we will see you on Coven Conversations next Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.